Killer. Alright guys, let's see if we can get anybody in here. Welcome to the show. Wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about this week. Leave a comment down below. Let me know you're here. If I can't see the comments, I'm going to have to borrow a phone here in just a second. So go ahead and say hi or whatnot. There we go. Good job, Kevin. I can see the comments. We're going to be good tonight. Different topic. Didn't really know what I was going to talk about. And somebody asked about the winter to spring transition. And I even got the camera swapped around tonight. It's a little awkward for me. So you can read the shirt. You can read the hat. You'll be able to read what's on the baits. What's up? What's up, Tom? Hey, Kevin Condra and Joe Brooks. What's up, Pete? Before I get started tonight, I want to give a shout out to the University of Tennessee basketball team, especially head coach Rick Barnes, who is now 4-3 against John Calipari. And we have what I think is the best basketball team in the SEC. And we may not have a good football team, but I'm really excited about the basketballs. It's been a while since the Bruce Pearl days. What's up, Con? Hey, what's up, Ben Burrows? Hey, Carl, how you doing? Steve LaRue, how you doing, buddy? Tracy, what's going on? Hey, Craig. Kyle Metzger, what's up, man? Hey, Doug, what's up, buddy? I'm glad to see you last week. I seen some photos from Drew Lynch. You catching some giants. What's up, Josh Price? What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to talk about catching fish from that winter to spring transition. We're really close here on Kentucky Lake if we can get a couple warm weeks. What's up, Dwayne Barnhill? And I'm going to go over some techniques and presentations for you to catch those fish. Come on, let it die. Man, I'd love to let it die, but, you know, I hear from these UK fans every single day, all up on my balls all the time. So it feels good, but I've been a really good boy on social media this year. I haven't said nothing. Hey, Josh, I got to send you over that order for those swimbait heads. Don't let me forget this week, man. I got to get that going. If you don't know, Josh makes the Fishing 45 swimbait head. It's awesome. Got a little wire on the bottom. Don't need super glue. What's up, Timothy? What's up, Matt? So I'm going to go ahead and start this by letting you guys know. I watched a video last night from Tactical Bassin, Matt Allen. The title of it's How to Catch the Biggest Bass in Your Lake. And the first 15 minutes are really all about that spring to winter transition. JoJo, I know you ain't going to catch no jaints. You're on that dink train, buddy. Hopefully you can help me fix my toilet when you're done this weekend. And it was really good. And I agreed with a lot of it. And I fell asleep, not because of the video, but I was just tired. But I'm going to link that. I'm going to put that video up on my Facebook tomorrow. And I think you'll see a lot of the stuff I talk about and what Matt talks about are really the same. So a lot of this stuff isn't just geared for the Tennessee River, Kentucky Lake. It's geared for everywhere. So I'm going to show you a lot of stuff that I personally have used, have witnessed, and I know what works. And I'll go ahead and tell you if I'm good with it or not. But I'm going to talk about an A-rig a little bit, how I rig it up, the baits I use on it. I use two different A-rigs. I use one with blades, one without. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Mickey rig fishing. Jerk baits, crankbaits, we're just kind of going to hit it all because this time of year you can get stuck on one thing. You can spin your wheels all day. The most important thing in the spring to or winter to spring transition is actually finding the bass. And depending on what type of lake you're at or water temperature or bait fish population, that's going to dictate a lot of what you use and the techniques you use. But do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. Share this. Go ahead and share it in some groups. Share it on your personal pages. Tag some buddies, and let's get on with it here. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is something I get asked about a lot. Zach, I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate you. You know, it takes a lot of work to get a majestic beard like this. There's only a few guys I know who can pull this off. You know, Brian Latimer's got a sweet beard. Man, his is perfect. Hopefully, Zach, your beard game's strong and the fishing game's strong at Harris Chain. I got a feeling it is after I sent you that double secret package. Zach is also going to have a huge giveaway on his page pretty soon, Zach Bird's Fishing. And you'll see, Tackle Freaks might have thrown in some awesome stuff on there. Great question, Tom. Well, what degree would you start to pre-spawn? Water temp is a big factor. I'm a moon phase guy. Usually that first full moon in March, I know there's going to be fish heading shallow. Thank you, Joseph. Joseph, make sure you post your veterans thing in here for all the guys to know. I always said the first full moon in March, I know fish are going to go shallow. Typically, I'm looking at water temperature above 55 degrees. I think that's the magic number. When I don't have to throw that suspending jerkbait all day or the A-rig, when those fish first start to really bite a trap. But I'm going to talk to you of some clues that Matt talked about that I agree with, of when to pick up the trap, when to put it down. But we're going to start with what's right now the most popular winter fishing rig as far as productivity, and that's the A-rig. And the most popular one that I sell tons of, and this is the one I throw. I don't fish BFLs and stuff like that, not anymore, because it's out of my league right now. I'm no Zach Burge. I won't win the BFLs when I was 20 years old. But this is your hog farmer. This is the 5-wire 8-blade, and this is my go-to A-rig. And you'll see the epoxied head right here. The blades hanging. These are really premium snaps right here. So I'm going to show you how I rig this thing up really quickly. First thing you're going to have to do is you are going to have to spread these arms apart. So you got to remember there's 5 wires. So you're basically going to have 2 going out to the side, 1 on the bottom, and this middle one. And this middle one right here, I usually put something maybe chartreuse on it. But for this video, I'm just going to stick to the same kind of swim bait. So the important thing on this A-rig is when it comes to the water, it's not laying on its side. It's coming through perfectly straight. I prefer blades, as many blades as you can get on there. 8's great for me because you're imitating a school of bait. I catch more fish on the A-rig when it's overcast. Number one, they can't get a great look at it. The flash draws them in. Hey, Scott, what's up, buddy? So Scott Schwacker designed this. If you ever have a question about a hog farmer product, you can message him on his page or me. We'll take care of it. So how I rig this up is I use really cheap heads. These are the Tackle Freaks A-rig heads. They're just a round ball head. They did put a whooping up, Dave. It was a great one. I don't sell Strike King jerseys, Steve. I meant to call you back, but I can hook you up with somebody who does. So I use 2 sizes of these. This is a 1/4 ounce. It's just a standard little ball head right here. This is a kind of mid-grade wire. It's not heavy. It's not light. And then I'll use 2 1/4 ounce. Those are going to be to anchor the rig. So I'm going to put these right here on the bottom of the rig. I'm going to try to rig this thing up while I'm talking here. And then the rest, I'm going to use, these are 1/8 ounce. If I want to fish really shallow, you know, less than 8-10 foot, if I find some fish on top of the flat, I'll just go all 1/16 ounce. But so I've got 2/8, 2 1/4, and I'm going to be honest, I liked using these right here. This is the Strike King Rage Swimmer. The Kitex work great as well. We're going to talk about some Kitex here in just a minute too. So starting with the A-rig, let's rig this thing up on this Hog Farmer 5-wire 8-blade. Very, very simple. You know, I do this demonstration in the store quite a bit. Heck yeah, that's a great video. So very simple. I always put the back toward the eye of the hook. I'll get to that in just a second, Joseph. Get to that in just a second. And just slide these little things up here. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be pretty, because remember, you're going to have 5 baits. So I'm going to rig 3 up on these 1/8 ounce heads. Chad, these are really good. Get on TackleFreaks.com. Look up the Tackle Freaks A-rig heads. They're under jig heads, swim bait, and you'll be able to find these. And I'll explain to you why I like these lighter wire hooks. So there's my second one. This color's Pearl Blue Red Pearl. I really like it. It's great for clear swars, great with anything else. Yeah, those are good, Zach. I might have some sitting right below me. I'll put this one right here. Again, all I'm doing is threading these on here. You don't have to have it perfect. I do like to get them as straight as possible. And now I'm going to get my heavier 1/4 ounce heads. And I'm going to have a giveaway tonight, and you may win these rage swimmers that I'm using. They'll hold up fine, even though they have been used. Zach, giving away the secrets, man. Dirty jig swim bait head's awesome. It really is. I've got some. I'm going to show you my Kitech rig. So there's a 1/4 ounce head. You can see the difference here. And these are going to be what I call the anchors. They're going to be on the bottom of the rig. So I've got my anchors. And I'm looking right here. You see my bait. This is the A rig looking at me. I want these to get about as straight as possible. So what I'm going to do as far as anchors, I'm going to put this, these are really heavy duty right here. Going to open up this snap. I'm about to put this through myself. There we go. Get this thing open. When you buy a hog farmer rig, trust me, the components are the best you're going to find. So get this thing opened up. You can see I've got it opened up right there. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of my anchor baits. This is the 1/4 ounce. I'm going to try to get it on there really quickly. Scott, you used these A-rigs would survive an atomic blast. Trying to. So the hardest part about an A-rig is just getting on. Michael, this is the Hog Farmer 5-wire 8-blade. This is the gold standard A-rig. So there's my first anchor. That's my 1/4 ounce. That goes straight below this right here. My next anchor, I'm actually going to put right here. I'm going to put on this middle one. Some guys don't. This is how I've got them to run great for me. And then open up your snap again. Good Lord. When Scott at Hog Farmer makes these, he does not want you to lose a bait or nothing. It is going to hold up. My good buddy Matt Bryan has caught 3 smallmouth at one time on these things. What's up, JoJo? What's up, Doug? It's going to take me 20 minutes to do this. Pro tip, if you know you're going to throw A-rigs, rig them up the morning before. So now I've got 2 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce heads. I've got one on the front here, one on the back. Now I'm going to put my 1/8 ouncers on the outside. If I can get these snaps undone. No, Rick, those are not 6/0. Matter of fact, these are 3/0 hooks. I personally don't like really long hooks on A-rigs. Number one, you've got multiple hooks. Number two, they'll hang up easier. Murray, I do use braid when there's some color to the water. Right now, especially on the Tennessee River, on Kentucky Lake, these fish are really, really pressured. Our water clarity is at the clearest it's ever been. And I've personally have noticed in the last 2 years a great amount of difference in baits or bites using fluorocarbon. But I'll show you the 2 brands I use. Let me get this thing rigged up and show you what this A-rig looks like eventually. So the pro tip is rig this thing. I should have had this rigged up before the show, but I wanted to show you guys exactly how I do it. So I've almost got her done there. I've got a quarter, 1/8. So when you reel this thing, it's going to be nice and straight. Color, swim baits, mostly white is really popular. I like the Pro Blue Red Pearl. Really gets a nice shad imitating color. It can be great clear water or if there's a little stain. So there's the chandelier right there. So you got 8 blades, 5 baits, 5 hooks. This is not BFL legal. They make a hog farmer makes a BFL rig that's 5R, 3 blade. I've heard the rig's on fire up there, Ben. You may have to give the rig lesson. So these 2 heavy baits right here, and if you look at my rig, this is the nose of it. They're lined up perfect. So when I'm pulling this through the water, technically these heavy ones are going to keep this rig nice and straight. These hog farmers are heavy duty. They're heavy built. So now I've got my A rig. Now it's where do I throw it? We're starting winter to spring. So these fish in their winter transition are mostly going to be main lake oriented. And what I mean by that is main lake points, channel swings, ditches, bars. You know, if you fish out here in the fall in Kentucky Lake, you know what a bar is. A bar is basically where current has washed up gravel, pea gravel, into some kind of bend or point underneath the water, and it's created kind of a high spot. Bars can go, they can be 50, 100 yards long, they can be 20 yards long. The main part is usually a bar breaks the current. You know, Zach, I think can tell you a little bit about fishing those bars in the fall. But those are same places they're going to hang out during the winter. Deep points, bluff walls. Really like bluff walls too. Never pass a bluff wall up on these A-rigs. A lot of time you can get parallel to the bluff walls, and those bait fish are suspending out there, and this can be really deadly. I fish a lot of small bodies of water, so A-rig probably is no good. What would be next to underspin? Don't let the size of the body of water dictate not throwing an A-rig. I've thrown an A-rig in 40-acre ponds, and I've thrown them on this big giant Kentucky lake. Fish are going to feed on a school of bait. If you go throw a bunch of bait fish in a pond, you know the bass will come attack it, whether it's an acre or 100 acres. This is just imitating a ball of bait. Now, what you could do, Lance, is you could go with something with maybe just 3 wires on it and no blades and be really subtle about it. Yes, Zach, good mapping is key. I've always been a Lowrance guy, and I'm going to give you guys a really good tip here. If you can afford it, run Lowrance unit and a Humminbird unit. The Lowrance has some things, especially up in the shallow water, that'll be coming key in the spring, that sometimes the Humminbird doesn't. On Kentucky Lake, there is no better mapping than the Humminbird Lake Master, but Garmin has some really good stuff too. Man, I love the Garmin units. We can go map Lake X if I want to. You can actually create a map for places that does not show. Michael, this rig right here, the 5-wire 8 blades, $26.99. As always, log on tacklefreaks.com. Use that code Baitman, you'll get 10% off. So I'm going to start with my A-rig. I'm going to really try to find fish that are suspended on deep points, bluffs, bars. I'll even throw these on the same ledges I fish in the summer. And the reason why is a lot of times these fish here that are main lake oriented, they will hang up on those ledges, and you can graph them and find them just like in the summer. And the best part is not everybody wants to fish on the main lake. You can catch them on this. So when you first start in that winter to spring transition, one good key to those fish are really getting out of their winter habits is actually getting a lot of bites on this right here. And that's something Matt Allen talks about. When you have the days, we're probably catching 5 to 7 bass on the A-rig, not much else going. Those bass are probably still in that winter period. When you get into, you're throwing this right up on the main lake points, and they're biting in the first 10 cranks. You're even able to move in the bays and start catching them on the A-rig, and you're having those 20, 30 bite days, catching 15 to 20, 25 bass. It's time to put the A-rig down. You can still catch them, but that just tells me fish are getting more aggressive. They're going to burn more energy. They're going to get shallow. No, it's 5 wires, 8 blade. Total length, man, this thing's about 1 foot long. It's pretty long. So your wires here are about 6 inches, so you got a foot apart on this, Michael. But now, when I want to use, I'm going to set this chandelier down. When I want to go to something that doesn't have blades, like this schoolie rig, lots of pressured fish, everybody's throwing the A-rig, you want to throw something different, I'll go to something like this right there. There's no blades, and I'll go to even smaller baits on it, like a 2.5 inch Kitek. And this is just a simple schoolie rig. This is kind of like the original A-rig that started everything. The first year that A-rig came out, dude, the bass on Kentucky Lake, it was like they'd never seen nothing like it. It was unreal. You could literally go on Christmas Day and catch 30 pounds. It was silly. So my main line I'm going to use on that is I'm going to run 65-pound Power Pro. If there's any color in the water, it's early season. Those fish aren't real pressured. You're not going to break off. And the reason I like this heavy braid with these light wire hooks right here is if I get this hung in a brush pile or a stump, which I will, this heavy line, I can pull those hooks straight and not lose that expensive A-rig. If you're using 25, 30-pound, chances are you could break, but I like to go 65, and then if I'm going to go fluorocarbon, I go Sunline Assassin 20-pound. Some guys are going to say this is light, but really that rig doesn't weigh that much. It doesn't weigh that much more than 10XD. You can get away with this 20-pound fluorocarbon. I really love the Assassin. Got that on Tackle Freaks. Got this in bulk spools too as well, guys. But that's my main A-rig setup. You can put whatever swim baits you want to. I really recommend the Kitek style Zoom Swimming Super Flukes. Now that I've decided I found these fish that are on the main lake, maybe they won't buy the A-rig. Some other stuff I like to go to. I'm going to show you some other A-rig baits. This is one of my favorite A-rig baits right here, guys. This is the Reaction Innovation Skinny Dipper. This is Gunnersville Shad. One thing I really like about these skinny dippers, you get 9 of these in a pack, so you can almost put 2 rigs together with a pack of these. The Excite Shad Nasties are really good, but this right here is my personal favorite. Just the amount you get in a pack is really good. And this is OG, man. You put these on the back of a swim jig, underspin it, whatever you want to do. Another really good bait for A-rigs. They don't have that many in a pack. Is these right here. This is the Big Bite Suicide Shad. They actually make a smaller version that's got more in a pack. But one thing that's really cool about this Suicide Shad is this is a really good single swim bait. So let's say you've got a bunch of fish targeted and maybe they're hitting your A-rig, they're just not eating it. Or you found bait that's suspended. These fish are starting to get a little bit more aggressive. You'll notice they're starting to feed on individual shad instead of, a whole wad of bait. I like this bait. It's very subtle. This color is called Gizzard Shad. And I'm going to show you a really cool new swim bait head from 6 Sense Lures. What kind of knot you tie with that A-rig? I'm just thinking of, I don't tie a polymer knot. I tie a San Diego jam knot. And I use that knot for like 90% of things. So this is the new Divine swim bait head from 6 Sense. I'm going to get it out of the package here and show it to you. It's really nice and detailed. That color is called Baby Shad. But it's got, this is a 5/0 hook, and this is a screw lock, but I'm going to throw a lot of single swim baits. These are a couple of my favorites. Really subtle right here. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and push it down upon my swim bait. I'm going to bring it nice and easy out of the back. And with this screw lock, all you got to do is kind of push it up there. And I just start spinning the bait around. Spinning the bait around. Spinning the bait around. And this is a 1/2 ounce head. You can go up to 3/4, but I like the half. I like it makes me fish it really slow. So I get it nice and screwed up there. Look how good that looks. That is awesome on that 6 Sense Divine jig head. Super, super sharp hook. I get a lot of guys say, oh man, it's got 4 eyes, it's got 4 eyes. Well, you can always pop these eyes out on a swim bait. But that's the 6 Sense Divine hook. That's the Big Bite Suicide Shad. That's going to be in a giveaway for you guys tonight. I'm going to fish this anywhere from 20 foot deep to 4 foot deep. Fish it really slow off the points. Fish it really slow on the bluffs. This is an underspin one. Another one I really like as well, I'm fixing to show you, is the Zoom Swimmer. And this is your bass trick style. This is hitch number 1. Anytime I'm throwing these swim baits, I really want to imitate those threadfin or gizzard shads. This is going to have a lot more thump to it. It's going to have that head rock action, whereas this is going to be really subtle. But there is a time I like these baits to throw them a real light line, and this is one of my favorite ways right now. I got 2 different ways I want to throw this bait right here, and you've all seen it and you all know what it is. When those fish are getting aggressive, Chad, I don't throw an A-rig in 3 or 4 foot, very rarely. One knocker or an A-rig. Personally, I'm starting with the A-rig. I'll work my way up into the trap once those fish get more aggressive. When that water gets 55, I'm going to throw a trap more. When would you opt for single swim bait rather than throwing the underspin with extra flash? Great question. Just number 1, fishing pressure. Number 2, if I know those fish are really keying in on bait and there's a lot of bait around, I'll go with the underspin just to, you know, give them a little flash, something to see it. But this is one of my favorite more hats 2 weeks, probably next week. One of my favorite ways to catch pressured fish is this right here. This is the Matt Allen special. You see this all the time. This is the 3.8 Kitech. This is a real light. This is the Dirty Jigs Matt Allen swim bait head. This one's like 3/8 of an ounce. And I'll throw this on like 12-pound fluorocarbon, believe it or not. When they're really keyed in on small bait, there's a lot of fishing pressure, you're not getting a lot of bites, I'll go to this single swim bait. And dude, that right there is absolutely deadly. 12-pound line, really light. I'll let this get all the way to the bottom, or I count it down. Throw it out there, count to whatever number till you know it hits the bottom, and start reeling. Look on your graph. If you're seeing fish suspended, that's when I'll throw this single swim bait or the underspin. Really like this Kitech. That Matt Allen head looks so good on there. Matt did a great job. But that little Kitech right there caches so many checks. It's a small profile, but man, the bass that eat that thing. And then the great thing is about this Kitech, you can throw this thing up shallow on this lightweight, skip it around boat docks. When those shad and bluegill start getting more active as the water warms up, the size of this one actually is a quarter. I've got them at, I like quarter and 3/8 light line. You can even throw these on spinning gear around riprap, stuff like that. That's when that Kitech really shines. And then I've also got the old underspin, and I'll show you the underspin in just a second if I can find it. This is kind of the homemade deal here. I'm going to say this. I'm going to have these made from Revenge. Revenge makes the original ones, and I recommend theirs a lot because they come painted. These are just ones a buddy makes, and once I'm sold out of these, they'll be gone, and I'll have complete all Revenge. Yes, this is 3.8 Kitech, and this is basically, you know, a Revenge underspin. And again, use that small Kitech bait, push it up there. That head's a little overpowered for that bait, but I like that underspin, especially when those fish are relating closer to the bottom. What's your thoughts on throwing belly weighted hooks on an A-rig to keep it more with us? Dang, Jeremy, that is a great question. Yes, sometimes, Matt, I'm not a big scent guy, a shad scent, but if I want to put a jig, I love the Craw Cane, Strike Force, anything is great. But yeah, Ray makes the Revenge underspin, and I can't wait to get Ray's stuff in here. It's painted awesome. I'm not even going to put these online. Special request only. Because Ray's a good guy, and I don't want him to think that we just got a bunch of stuff that looks like his. So, but yeah, you can actually run your A-rig and use the weighted belly hooks. Use like 1/8 ounce weighted belly hooks, and then it's completely weedless. I like the hookup ratio better on the exposed jig head. What color do I recommend on the Contact? Anything shad, a rainbow shad, electric shad, sexy shad's really good. Sight flash, but single hooks, I'm going to go with like bluegill flash, rainbow shad, electric shad. I've got some on tacklefreaks.com right now. The Strike King Rage Swimmer, green gizzard is my favorite. Absolutely love the green gizzard in Pro Blue. That's just non-A-rig. So some other swim baits, and this one's really cool because not everybody fishes where there's a lot of shad. Once you get up north, you can do the same kind of techniques, fishing weed lines and points. And Edwin Evers just did a great video on this. And it's throwing this Mega Bass Dark Sleeper. And if you haven't ever seen these, this is awesome. So this is a really, really small swim bait. And if you'll notice right here, it's got this top fin. So this top fin actually guards the hook. So this is great weedless around brush piles. Terry, I'll use 1 ounce heads in the summer a little bit. I really, 3/4 about the max I go. Now, if I've got a bait that I just need to get down there, 8-inch trash fish, I like a 1 ounce head. But that's a giant bait. What hook was that you said, the 1/4 ounce with that 3/8 Contact? That was the Matt Allen swim bait head. That's on Tackle Freaks. That color's Tennessee Shad. I'm really low on gizzard. But so this little dark sleeper, that water's starting to warming up, guys. And now let's say the water's in that 58 to 60 degree range. What depth for A-rig at 10 to 15, 20 for Kentucky? Do you fish south? I do not fish south of the 79 bridge. You're right on. 10, 15 to 20 for A-rig. So I'm not going to answer any more A-rig questions till later. We're done with that. I'm going on to other stuff. But long story short, I like this dark sleeper. It's a really finesse swim bait. Edwin Evers did a great video on this, and he talks about fishing it like a jig. And I agree with that. This is kind of going to imitate your little gobies up north, your little bluegill as it's really warming up and getting into that transition period. So once those, yeah, I love the Table Rock Shad color, Jeremy. Love it. You get into that transition period, water's warming up, your bluegill are going to start moving around. I want to imitate the Forge. Love that dark sleeper. A very finesse swim bait, lots of little tail action. When it's highly pressure, this is really awesome. Yes, this is a mega bass. I feel like I'm getting a little sidetracked, so I'll need to get back here talk. So one thing that's always a staple, especially late winter, early spring, is a jerkbait. And so I've talked about jerkbaits, recently did a jerkbait show, but I'm going to answer a few little questions here about a jerkbait. When that water is 40, I'm going to say in the 40s to 55 degrees, there's no better jerkbait than this right here. This is the Mega Bass 110. I've got 3 colors right here. This is Mega Bass Gizzard. This is LG Bone. We like LG Bone. And this is Deadly Black Illusion. John, that's a Mega Bass Dark Sleeper. Bluegill Swim Jig, Kitech color. I would use Sungill or Gold Flash Minnow, really good. So there's the reason I have 3 different colors. These are, if you'll notice, the bellies on all these jerk baits are different. So you got an orange belly on the Deadly Black Illusion. The Mega Bass Gizzard, you got a green back, a white belly. LG Bone, purple top, yellow belly. For the most part, jerkbait is visual feeding. When you've got a water that's got a little bit of stain to it, I like that chartreuse belly. This color is also really good in clear water, and the reason is you get a lot of roll from this bait. You get that flash from the side, but it is translucent. This is a great smallmouth color right there. This has a way different action than the X80. This is the one. Love Smithwick Rogue, but when that water's 55 degrees or below, I'm telling you, this is the one. This is the bait all the pros throw right here. Vision 110. This is one of the most popular colors. If that water is I like the orange belly too. If you're in a lake that's got a lot of perch, a lot of bluegill, they really key on that orange belly. This is kind of like a golden shower. They call it deadly black illusion. You can see that's like a purple black top, orange belly. Now if I'm fishing where it's really clear, go with that right there. That's the Megabass Gizzard. Love the green gizzard. It's transparent. I like to work these clear colors. I work them a little faster. They can't see it as well. They'll react really quick. But clear water I really like translucent. Yeah, Zach's right. Rogue is freaking bad to the bone. Problem is I don't have any out of the package. I don't want to tear up my packages. Zach, what's your favorite Rogue colors in that winter spring time? For me, I always liked Clown. Goldback, white sides, redhead. Clown's a killer. The new color Juice, which is like a translucent table rock. Juice is awesome. Got those on tacklefreaks.com too. Really love the Rogue. When that water gets like 55 to 60, I like to snap that Rogue really hard. Start covering some shallow flats and stuff like that. Now, I know Jason Crispy whacked them at Grand Lake several years ago on that Rogue really early time of the year. So I'm also going to tell you this. There are certain baits that work great on certain lakes and some they don't. Megabass, Rogue work really good up here on Kentucky Lake. I know at Grand Lake I send a lot of Rogues down there. Chrome Blue Back. Hey, who am I to argue with Jason Christie? That dude could probably skip a jig under my beard, make it land in my nose. He's that good. I love the Chrome Blue Rogue, Clown. When I want to start fishing it fast, I transition to the Rogue. But there are guys that will weight the Rogue with suspend strips, and they'll let that sucker sit in that 10, 15 second range. That's a little much for me. I'm just not that patient. I think 5 seconds is a good wait time. It's not too short, not too long. If I want to really move a jerkbait, this one right here is what I really, really like. This is the Jackal Rearrange 130. This thing right here is, if you want to move fast, this is the bait. It really will sound weird when you throw this. Water needs to be colder than normal. I like the Rogue when it's unusually cold. See, that's cool. That's totally opposite from all of my experiences up here. But now Zach, he's in Oklahoma. He says he likes it when it's really cold. So it's always great to have one or two opinions, especially a really knowledgeable angler that he beat me on Lake X. I'm not going to lie. Zach beat me on Lake X. I had to give him the right bait, but he beat me on Lake X. So he knows what he's talking about. And I'm just the guy that knows about the baits, but I'll help you as much as I can. I'm glad that people jump on here and give information. That rear range is a really good bait. Pointer 100, Colin, talking about, love the Pointer 100. Sweeping, killing. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can work a jerkbait. Again, y'all gonna have to get up on Tactical Bassin and just watch every video. Put me on the spot here, but anyway. So if they're gonna bite a jerkbait, I like to start fishing crankbaits. Once that jerkbait bite really starts slowing down, the water's getting at 58, 59 degrees, even at 55 degrees. I personally go to a rattle trap or a crankbait. Mixed stick is a really good one, Chris. What knot do you use to tie the 110? The same knot I use everything else. I use the San Diego jam knot. Let me see if I can find some line. Hey, Ryan, Archery Tech? Yeah. Do you know where? Can you grab me a piece of fishing line or something? I'm going to show you the knot I use. There's got to be some old fishing line around here, but let's get into these fish have moved. They're transitioning from the main lake. They're going to the 45-degree banks, pockets. Yeah, polymer is a really good knot. You know what? I'm just lazy. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm just lazy. I like the San Diego Jam. I've been tying it since I'm 5. I'm just lazy. It's a good knot. It's never really failed me. I do use the polymer on a drop shot. So these fish are going to transition. They're going to go, we're going to get away from the swim baits. We're going to get into some faster moving baits now. When you talk about lipless baits, there might be, oh yeah, there we go. We got some braided line from the old Archery Tech. No, it's not, David, but I'll have some soon. I just got this one. Archery serving string. Hopefully you can see this. So you can't talk about lipless baits without rattle trap. New color right here. This is Retro Crawl from Bill Lewis. Very close to 6 cents rainbow red. So if I'm tying a knot, this is the knot I tie 99% of the time, unless I'm drop shotting. So you run your line right here through the hoop. Okay, pretend this is on a rod. See how we got this here? Then I go over my thumb, this gigantic thumbnail I got, pull my line down, and then I spin it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I grab my bait, like so. I go right here, there's a little loop right here. It makes a loop. I don't know if y'all can see that. I go through the bottom, grab it with my teeth, and then I come through this loop right up top. The key to this deal, you wet it, and I cinch this thing down just like that. And then I'll take my scissors and I'll cut the tag in because I need to quit doing it with my teeth. But I tie that knot right there for 99% of stuff, except for a drop shot when I want that long tag for the polymer that makes your worms stand out. But that's the new color rattle trap. I'll have those on tomorrow. Rattle trap's putting some triple grip hooks on here now. But so I'll start throwing these 3/4 ounce traps and 6, 8, 10 foot of water as we're transitioning down to the bank. I look for 45-degree banks, which is basically deep water banks, but I want to have like a flat behind me. No, I don't, Zach. I wish I did. Wish I had some red chromes. I want a creek channel swing up near the bank, or that deep bank that's next to a spawning flat. I'll start with the rattle trap, and I don't exactly always parallel the bank, but I'll usually go at an angle. But don't be afraid to cast out into open water. LV500, man, I wish I wanted to show everybody the LV. The LV500 is a really good trap. So regular rattle trap, 3/4 ounce. I'm going to go to my reds, and I'm really going to go shad imitators. Another good bait. I've got 2. I've shown these before. This is the Quake 70 from 6 cents. We are out of the knocker thuds. Bright bluebird days. Believe it or not, I'll go to a chrome in the spring. My buddy Matt Bryan showed me that. That color is violet panda. That thing right there is nasty. So these Quakes, really loud. And I want to burn these baits. I like to burn the rattle style baits. The one knocking style baits, I like to yo-yo quite a bit. And the reason I'll throw these traps is really to cover water. Once those fish start moving and they're chasing, they're really starting to gorge, that's when I'm going to my rattle style baits. Now, a pro tip here, watch the moon. Anytime that moon is getting close to full or right after a full moon, there's going to be all kinds of crawfish spawn as well, and that's when I'll go to my oranges. I won't be throwing my oranges. God dang it. Sharp hooks. My oranges, my reds. Oh, this is an awesome color. This is crawfish cream. It's even got a shade of purple in it. But that's the Quake 70. I've got more coming, but these are on Tackle Freaks. I don't do that, Leo. It's a good tip. I personally don't. Don't ever have enough time. That's a good color, bleeding gizzard shad. So you're going to imitate two things in the spring: bait fish or a crawfish. If we don't have much of a moon, and I'm seeing a lot of bait activity, I'm going to go with my chromes, my bait fish imitators. If the moon's kind of up, I'm really going to go right here. I'm going with my crawfish color. That is, Zach, you need to get Booyah to get some new ones. And I don't even have one. Booyah one knocker, guys. Killer. They're on the site. You only need two colors. You need Raven Red and Royal Shad. Or basically you just need a red and something that has some white in it. Love the one knocker. I'll go ahead and let some guys know too. The one knocker you can buy now from Booyah is the same one knocker that Excalibur made. I don't care if your brother, buddy in Los Angeles told you it's different. The only thing different is the paint jobs are a little off. So I used to work for Pradco Outdoor Brands when they made the one knocker under Excalibur. Excalibur is not a different company than Pradco. Pradco owned Excalibur. They got rid of Excalibur because they had pro autographs on there and they had to pay royalties all the time. Well, after all those guys left, they're still paying royalties. So guess what you do as a business? You dilute. So they diluted the Excalibur brand, no more royalties, and they repackage under Booyah. It is the same bait. Externally, internally, the only difference is the paints are a little different, but the ones I'm getting now, they match the old ones. Now, they don't make them as many sizes. It's not even rebranded. Well, yeah, I guess rebranded it. Excalibur is now Booyah. And you'll see more old Excalibur stuff start coming to Booyah really soon. I can tell you that's going to happen, but don't be afraid to buy the new Booyah one knockers. They are literally the same bait. I know some people really want to flood the market with their original one knockers. No big deal. I'm telling you, it's the same deal. I've whacked them on the original. I've whacked them on the new one. And I actually like the hard knocker. They're just normal rattle. I love the hard knocker, especially in the fall. That blink shad's really good. But we're getting a little off subject anyway. So another great rattle trap deal. Somebody mentioned the LV500. This is the Jackal TN70. And the Jackal TN70, what's unique about it is much like LV500, this thing's weighted up in the chin. I really like these fishing grass, Gunnersville guys, Wheeler guys, places you're fishing grass. Really like this bait. It's got a really small profile, but it sits like this right here. This rips out really easy, but it sits on its head. I like to work this like a football jig too. Throw it out there, let this hit the bottom, and just short little pumps, let it sit there. Short little pumps, let it sit there. And a lot of times they'll just take off with it. That's how Matt Allen put it on me at Lake X for a while. He was basically throwing an LV500 way down deep, letting it sit there, and work it like a football jig. Really like the TN70. Awesome bait. This color is actually called RT Smallmouth. So this one's right here. Are there square bills coming to Booyah? Mike, oh yeah, Booyah's already got square bills. All you gotta get is get on TackleFreaks.com, go look up the Booyah Flex. I highly recommend the Flex. It's a great bait. It's not, you can beat that bait up, you're not gonna break it. It's awesome. Yes, moon and color. So crawfish hatch with the moon. So anytime there's a new moon or the new moon's going away, anytime you got like a full moon right before the full moon, right after, gotta love the crawfish colors because that's what they're going to move and hatch. Especially in March and April, you'll start noticing they start biting a jig really good. And that's because these bass are feeding on crawfish on the bottom. And I'll get into the jig in a minute. So let's get into crankbaits. I'm not going to get too crazy. Same kind of areas I'm throwing my rattle trap in, maybe deeper water, I'm going to throw crankbaits. This is a new one. If you guys love a wiggle wart, this is the new Curve 55 from 6 cents. I like this bait because I'm not big on the old wiggle warts, and those crawl colors, they don't catch. I've not caught them very well on Kentucky Lake, but I know everywhere else in the country they love those warts. But this is kind of their take. I really like this guy right here. I'll tell you also, a really good bait is a Norman middle end. I wish I should have grabbed some. A Norman middle end's a really good bait as well. This is when I want to target those fish in that 8 to 10 foot of water. 45-degree baits, points that are next to deep water, long tapering points. Work these things right down the side, parallel to riprap. Every lake I've fished has got some riprap. Great for these crankbaits. And this color is Jungle Rose. Brent Anderson talked about it last week. Hot Mustard DT6. This right here has caught a lot of checks on Kentucky Lake and across the whole country right here. I'm supposed to have Elvis tomorrow, Leighton. We'll see. I know Brent sold a bunch at the Nashville show. DT6 favorite colors. Hot Mustard. Demon. I like the Demon a whole lot. Bandit 300 is a great one. Rock Crawler, great cranks. We're going to have a spring cranking show. I'm just going to go over these right here. This isn't that, I want that, 4 to 8 foot of water. I want to burn. I really like the DT6. One thing that's great about this bait, you can reel this thing as fast as you want and it just don't blow out. Oh, you had to say it, didn't you, Chris? My personal favorite spring crankbait, this guy right here, Little John MD50 in spring crawl. You get about 3 weeks, these things will be selling like wildfire. Pro tip, water's got color, a lot of pressure. The chartreuse and blue is a great one too. What's up, Tanner Purdy? Tanner Purdy from Angler Hub, join us. Guys, if you haven't downloaded Angler Hub, make sure you do. They're going to sponsor the giveaway again tonight. And then Spot Safe. I've got to do a video on Spot Safe. It's just really cool. It's just so cool. Berkeley's got a couple great baits I like. The Digger 6.5. This is kind of like that DT6 deal. This is a great color. Your oranges, your yellows. You'll notice something. Bad Shed 7. Really like this in really cold, that 40 degree to 50 degree water. It's kind of like a Shad Rat, cast a little better. You can beat these things up on the, they're really good. I like the Dredger as it heats up. I've gotten sidetracked. I'm just talking about baits, just baits. So someone's going to ask, when do I throw a crankbait? When do I throw a rattle trap? I like the rattle trap when those fish are a little bit more aggressive. They're hungry. They're moving to feed. I like the crankbait when they're less aggressive, but they still want to chase. You just have to go see for yourself. What are you switching out to larger hooks on these? If so, what size? Man, on my DT6s, I'll use the same size, which I think these right here are number 4s. I'll stick with 4s on there. The 6 cents, these are number 2s. On the baits like a Wigglewort, a DT6, stuff like that, I like that Aaron Martin's G Finesse hook or that Owner ST41 Zowire. Oversized square bills, I really like those in muddy water or when those fish get really aggressive. I love a flat A, Eric. Really love that. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save the flat A for springtime cranking. That's going to come up pretty soon. I'll cover everything for springtime cranking. So basically we've taken from the A-rig on the main lake all the way in. Now we're in the bay. We're in the bay. These fish are getting ready. They're wanting to spawn. They're getting aggressive. Y'all are going to hate me for this. Jackhammer. This chatterbait right here is awesome, awesome. I know they're $16.99, but Brett Heights won $500,000 on it. Zach could tell you there's a ton of guys in the top 10 at Okeechobee throwing this exact bladed jig right here. This thing cashes checks. Don't be afraid. Guys are going to say, oh, my $5.99 chatterbait catches just as many. It might. But this right here will catch you janks. This is worth every penny. Premium components on these right here. From the hooks to the blade. This right here is the deal. Josh, I hadn't checked my mail, buddy. I I'm not saying you got to invest to $100 in these. If you got extra 20 bucks, buy one, mess with a jackhammer. Throw these in the same place you're going to throw a rattle trap, a crankbait. If you have vegetation at all, jackhammer. Any kind of bladed jig, vegetation, there's something about it when you rip that bladed jig in grass, those fish absolutely love it. Aaron, I'm not doing a spring jig show. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Maybe for flipping. I recommend the Yamamoto Zaco. That's what Brett Hite uses. Again, who are you to argue with Brett Hite? And that's not to say other brands won't work. Love the Picasso shock blade. The regular Z-Man chatterbait's really good. But this is kind of one of those, you hear about it, but this right here works really good. Hammer chatterbait, what do you think? You mean the jackhammer chatterbait? I think this is the deal. Now, there is a times when that bite gets really finicky, gets really tough, and you've got to have some stuff for when it gets really tough, because there's going to be those days they're just not going to bite. Maybe you've had a big shad kill. What size? I use 3/8, Andrew. I've heard a lot of guys say, man, my lake's had a big shad kill. They won't bite anything. It's really, really tough. It's time for Ned. When it's really tough, it's time for Ned. And I'm talking lot line, 6-pound test fluorocarbon. And one thing I like, what colors do I use? Green pumpkin, black and blue, and green pumpkin chartreuse, and red. I'll put a red skirt on my jackhammer. It's really tough. It's time for Ned. So this is the new Robo Ned. This color is Prism Shad. So say you got a bunch of fish, you got a shad kill. Well, it's early. It's right now. They're just not biting. That's when you get out the Ned rig. So this is the Ned lock hook right here. And this is a 1/5 ounce. Go ahead, send me a pic. And I'm just going to run this little Robo head. These are the hand poured ones. Push this sucker right up there. So you say you had a shad kill. What's going to imitate a dying shad better than a little 3-inch Robo Ned in this color right here? Throw that sucker down. Just let it sit. Just let that thing sit. How good does that look? I would eat that right now. So that color's Prism Shad. I just got a big order of these Robo Neds in on Tackle Freaks. Super popular. But I love that Ned lock because that thing is locked on there. Just throw that out there and let it sit on the bottle. Don't hop it. Just barely move it. And let it sit there. Really imitate that dying shad. Also, let's get vertical. Maybe you graft these fish and you can't get them to bite nothing, but you can see them on the graph. That's when you want to get out the old shiver shot and your Dirty Jigs Matt Steffen guppy head. And we're going to do a little Demiki rigging. We're going to get right over the top of these fish. Now, I had a guy say he thought this was for a Finesse swim bait. Eric, you'd have to ask somebody else for float and fly. I have never done it. And I'm not really wanting to either. But I am going to Del Hollow next week. So Demiki rig is basically, you see this line tie here. It's 90 degrees. So this isn't really a swim bait head. This is for Demiki rigging. So this is your shiver shot from Reaction Innovations. You see this is a little bitty old hook. This is what the guys were using at Cherokee during the bass event last year. Push that shiver shot right up onto the head of that. Now you've got a Demiki rigging bait. Lot line up and down. This is video game fishing. You've had a shad kill, you get right over the top of those fish and just dangle this right in their face. And that is the shiver shot. One thing I haven't talked about is bottom contact baits. As far as jigs, I'll throw a football jig a lot. When those fish start biting a trap, start biting a crankbait, you can go back behind guys with a football jig in a lot of those same areas and get 2 or 3 more bites, and it's really good for a big bite. I love throwing a jig around stumps, brush piles, places those bass are going to stop as they're transitioning from their winter to spring habitat area. Keep it really simple, man. Dirty jigs. I'm gonna go with this is about the one time I don't throw Baxter's bug. I like the green pumpkin and black and blues in the spring. You can use your favorite jig. Main key is the color. Keep it crawfish colored. Green pumpkin can't go wrong, but stumps, brush piles, in between, on the edge of creek channels, that's when I like throwing that football jig. Another thing I really like to use, and it's really popular, is a co-angler in the spring. A lot of guys throw a shaky head. I like a little meatier one. This is the Mag Finesse worm. This is green pumpkin candy. That's right. Hit that share button for me. We're fixing to jump off here. I don't have much after this. I'll answer some questions. This is the Scott Canterbury shaky head, and the reason I like this is it's pretty weedless. This is made by Dirty Jigs, but I feel it's perfect for this Mag shaky head, and I just screw this thing right up here. If you're an Ozark guy fishing behind docks, stuff like that, I really like that, and that's how I put it on there. And so my hook point's right here, but it's kind of got an archy style, and I just love the way it sits there on the bottom. And that's the Mag Finesse worm. Some guys like the stand-up heads. I don't know if it really matters or not. I know I've caught them on this head really good. It's pretty weedless, so I can throw this on bluffs, on pea gravel banks, around boat docks, anywhere I want to. That's the Mag Finesse worm and the Scott Canterbury shaky head. Whew, I'm thirsty. So anybody got any questions? I really didn't know what to talk about tonight, so I just kind of threw this show together. We kind of covered everything from way out on the main lake to that 3 to 4 foot range. I do have something cool I want to show you. I didn't know this would be a bass bait. Neko rigs, now kind of, for me, I don't throw that in the spring. I'm sure you can blast them on it, but I haven't thrown it. So this is a little bait from Mr. Twister. This is called a twister mic. And I got this idea before the show. I thought, man, I wonder how that would look on a Ned head. So let me find my Neds. God, this is going to be, you creek guys are going to love this. So I'm going to try this out. Let's try. Put this down here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this guy right here. Oh, this right here, smallmouth candy on the Ned. I love it. I better get these on the website. Guarantee they'll eat that sucker in the creeks. Woo-wee. When do I throw hair jigs? About the end of May. Yeah, man, get that order ready, Michael. TackleFreaks.com. Hit that Baitman. What do I have in stock for chatterbait rods? That's a great question, Brad. I personally love a 7 foot to 7'3" glass rod. Shimano Zodius 7.2 medium heavy glass. Just got that in. I'm out of the jackhammer. I have the 7'4" Daiwa Tatula big top water bladed jig rod. That right now is a really, really good one. I personally like the glass rod, and I use a lot of braided line or heavy fluorocarbon. Around grass, use braid on that bladed jig. Open water, go fluorocarbon. I go 14 to 17 pound on the fluorocarbon. Let's see. Can you get some Sneaky Pete? I don't even know what Sneaky Pete is. Let's see. Yeah, lead's fishing in mid-March. I don't do much of it. I want to tell you, kayak guys that are watching this, Kentucky Lake is known as a ledge lake, and yes, there are offshore fish to be caught. But I've been getting a lot of questions and stuff from kayak guys wanting me to help them out and show them ledges and mark maps. Guys, y'all don't have to fish ledges on Kentucky Lake this time of year to catch fish. There's a lot of people think they know about Kentucky Lake, and they're dead wrong. Watch who you get your info and help from. You can't catch fish offshore all year here. But the end of March, when you guys are here, this lake is going to be doing 50 million different things. It can be really, really good, really tough. You can catch them a foot of water. You can catch them 12 foot of water. I personally wouldn't focus any time on ledge fishing. You may want to fish some main lake flats and stuff like that, but don't be expecting to come here with 10-inch worms and DT 20s and 10XDs and mag spoons. You're going to have to be in May for that. Favorite early spring bite for rocky lakes with no grass? Man, I like a football jig or a trap. I love the trap and the squirt flat side crankbait. We'll get in that another night. Rod for an A-rig, 711 heavy, Dobbins 795 swimbait rod. $119. You cannot beat the Fury 795. But I will say there are a lot of Veritas rods now, $99. I really like them. Let's see. I'm going back to the comments. When do I throw large worms? Chris, probably about late April into May. I'll really start throwing them when those fish get in the brush piles out deep quite a bit. Best line for spinning rod for shaky header Ned, 16-pound Power Pro Super Slick or 20-pound Sunline SX1 to an 8-pound fluorocarbon later, or go down to 6-pound fluorocarbon later. Sunline Finesse 6.2 is really good. Anywhere from 16 to 20-pound braid. Love braid on spinning reel. I think Zach uses P-line fluorocarbon now. P-line Tactical is really good. That's something I've got to play with. I like, but I have pretty much gone exclusive braid to fluorocarbon leaders on my spinning gear. So anyways, I got a lot of stuff to clean up. I'm going to run a giveaway. I'll post that. Give me about 30-40 minutes to get all this going on. Going out in the morning north on Kentucky Lake, where would I start? Man, if I told you that, I'd be giving up my secrets. Actually, if I was going to start fishing tomorrow, I'd start at the Rip Rap at Kentucky Dam Arena, and I would throw a Shad Rap number 7 parallel to the Rip Rap. Oh, by the way, got these back in stock for you guys that don't know what these are. These are the new Mega Bass Lunker Lunch boxes. They're really cool. They're just $9. So if you get you some jerk baits, you've got this little really cool limited. They're not going to make many of these. Once they're gone. You can put a sandwich in here. You can put your favorite Mega Bass baits. These are great right here. Kind of a collectible deal. They're $9. Throw them on an order. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I gotta go see the kids. We'll get a giveaway up. Give me about 30 minutes to an hour. Again, thanks to Angler Hub for helping out with. Thank you so much, guys. Be sure to like and share.